My name is Anne-Marie Lewis, and I'm here with world-famous Angela Brower. We are so delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
Welcome. You grew up in Mesa, Arizona, with 5 boisterous boys, I
Yes.
think.
Yes, 5 brothers.
5 brothers, yes.
And 1 little sister. Yeah.
Oh, you have a sister as well.
She's the littlest. She's like 11 years younger than I am. She was the last. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
How was that growing up with that many boys?
Oh, I mean, I wanted to be one of them. I just thought, yeah, I can play in the dirt. Yeah, we wrestle and we did a lot of stuff outside. But there were times when I would like make them dress up and play house and school. But it was a good combination. I think they needed me and I definitely needed them. And it's so funny because as a mezzo-soprano, my voice type sings trouser rolls.
Yeah.
And so I get to dress up as boys, and it's really fun because I act like how I was when I was little, just like one of the boys. It's really fun. So yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous. How and when did you find the love of opera?
It wasn't until I started taking voice lessons. So the kind of evolution of it all, I was always kind of singing in primary in church, as you do, and making up songs. And then in America, we have we did when I was young, a really big choral kind of culture. And my older brothers would sing in choirs. And I thought, I want to sing in choir. Like, that's what we do. We sing in choir. And so through singing in choir, I learned what classical music was. I mean, my mom plays the piano, and so we kind of had like Mozart and Bach, like piano pieces around, like music in the house. And my dad was playing Jimi Hendrix in his room and with his guitar. So we had a good mix of like rock and roll and classical music. But it wasn't until I actually went to the university and I was really studying voice that I thought, singing in a foreign language and like being introduced to all of that and seeing that this was a whole nother genre of music. Mm-hmm. It was opera, and what was opera? And so, I became fascinated by that. Yeah.
What is that like to sing in a different language if you don't speak the language?
It's really fun because how I study it and how I make sure that I'm communicating effectively is I translate everything word for word, of course, and I make sure that I understand what the text is, but then I also have to make up my own subtext, like how would I say this in my language? Mm-hmm. And so you're translating maybe from French to English exactly word for word, but then how would I, Angela Brower, like say this phrase? And that's what has to be clear in order to communicate something to the audience, because it can't just be like, and here is the text. Like it has to be, no, here's the text, here's the story, right? Yeah. There's the difference. But yeah.
What would be, or what was your first musical memory?
That is such a good question. I love this question because I remember I must have been no older than maybe 2.5 years old. Mm-hmm. And my family had just moved from Nebraska, where I was born, to Arizona. And it was hot. And I remember it was really hot. And we had air conditioning in like one part of the house. And it was my parents' bedroom. And my mom was laying me down for a nap. Okay. And it was nice and cool. I just remember it was nice and cool. So I felt like, yes, I can sleep. And she had put on a tape of a piano duet of Brahms, like a four-hand kind of a Hungarian waltz. And it was like a lullaby. And I just remember hearing it and falling asleep. My mom used these tapes. They were called Suzuki tapes, like the Suzuki piano method. That's what she was teaching out of our home. And so she had all these tapes everywhere, and she just knew that was going to be something that I was going to fall asleep to, and I'll just never forget. I remember the room. It was nice and cool, and I heard the piano music, and I just fell right asleep. That was my first musical memory.
That is so beautiful. Did you ever have plans for another career before you realized and developed your singing voice?
I kind of didn't know what was out there for me. I struggled in school. I wasn't very, I guess, academics was not my forte. My brothers were all very smart and they were always excelling in school. And I always felt like, what's wrong with me? And I would compare myself. But then I realized gratefully that I had something that they didn't have. And I kind of just naively thought, well, everybody can sing, right? Everybody can sing. It's not a special thing. And then I realized it was. And so I'm grateful that I discovered my voice, because then I thought, well, maybe there's something to this, right? And so that's kind of how I went about it. But I didn't really know. I was still discovering. I loved art. I always loved creating things with my hands. I loved creating visual art. So it was whatever it was going to be art, because that was something I knew I could do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And a lot of people say that opera is the most complete art form, because you have the words, you have the art, you have music, dancing,
That's true.
and drama.
Yeah.
How much acting classes do you have to take to be a mezzo-soprano?
Well, I mean, my training, I took some acting classes at university when I studied for my bachelor's and my master's. And then my apprentice program that I went into after school was where I really learned about improvisation, and we did a lot of acting emphasis, and that was in Munich, Germany. That was when I came from the States and started my career in Munich, and I was in this like opera studio for 2 years, and there were lots of classes about, what do you do here? Like, take this object and like do something with it, and like make it a part of your scene. And okay, sing this aria to this object. How do I make this object interesting? And what do I do with this object? But it was the best schooling ever, because it helped me like free my mind and my body to use the space and to use the objects that I had around me to create another world. And that was something I hadn't really understood. I had understood that as a child, but then we kind of lose that, don't we? Yeah. The playing pretend.
Yeah, we do.
And so it was almost like, and now you can play pretend again.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I needed. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
And I believe you didn't go to an audition in New York. You had other things to do, and a lot of your friends and other people went, and then
Here's the story. Okay, this is the funniest thing. And this is where I know it was like totally Heavenly Father. He's like, this is the door of opportunity. Because I was so naive, and I just thought, no, I'm not going to audition to go to Germany because I still have some school left. I was not done with my master's. And it was very practical. I mean, it was a very good thing in my head, justifiable. So the two representatives from Munich came to this young artist program that I was a part of in New York. And all day on Saturday, I remember I was doing my chores, I was doing laundry, I was cleaning, I was changing bed sheets or whatever I was doing, and thinking the whole day, like, everybody's at this audition. Like, I was all alone in this big house and everybody was gone. And I thought, well, I hope that was the right decision that I didn't sign up. It just terrified me to think that I would have to move across the ocean and be so far away, and it just terrified me. So the whole Saturday went, and the other singer that I was covering, so that was the part of the apprentice program, was I was covering this main stage singer. So as a young artist, I was like shadowing her and learning. She had to go to another gig, so she had another performance, and that left me stepping in to do the rehearsal for her.
Okay.
Since she was gone. And then these two representatives from Bavarian State Opera came to the rehearsal and heard me and said, why didn't you sign up for the audition? We didn't hear you today. And I said, no, I didn't. And I just kind of did the whole rehearsal. And then at the end they said, okay, listen, we want to hear you in a private audition tomorrow. Can you come? The next day was Sunday, and I said, yes, I have to go to church first. So they waited, and I went to church, and I came back, and we did the audition, and they said, all right, like, we want you. We need you. And I thought, well, I'm not done with school. But then I asked all my professors, and they're like, go. This is why you go to school. Like, this is a job. This is what you want. Yeah. So that's kind of how it happened. The rest is history. I've been in Munich for 13 years now.
13 years?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Has it been difficult for you to be a member of the church and be in this, I don't know if you would say business, but art form?
Yeah, I mean, I can count on my one hand how many members of the church actually are opera singers and active, like really active members of the church. Mm-hmm. You're very much alone in your beliefs. And, you know, it's not just our beliefs, it's our lifestyle, right? We're not going out drinking or smoking or, you know, playing around, fooling around. Like and then that's just kind of what happens in the liberal arts world. And so it's to be a conservative, faithful, you know, Christian you end up finding other anomaly Christians that are like, oh, you're also good. Okay, let's hang out, let's be friends. But then I think at the beginning as a young person, you're just always trying to find your way, like in your 20s, and that's kind of when I started my career. And now as a more established singer, everybody just kind of knows. My reputation has followed me. They know, oh, well, yeah, she's Mormon. Like she's a good girl.
And they look out for you.
And they ask questions.
Yeah.
And I don't even have to bring it up. I don't even bring up the church. No. But because I've been so open all these years, they know, oh, you believe in God. Like, well, yeah, what else do you believe? I've heard this about the church. I've heard this about the church. And I get these opportunities to tell them, like, and it's kind of a lot of pressure because you're like, I have to be perfect, right? Like they're watching me all the time. And that used to burden me. But now I'm like, no, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to live your faith.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But you're on a constant mission.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of difficult things, now with COVID-19, when you've been away from the stage and away from the audience, what have you been doing?
It's really interesting when everything shut down. And I had contracts just being canceled, and the whole world was like, what is going on? It wasn't, we as artists were like, okay, I guess this contract is canceled. Maybe the next one won't be canceled. Mm-hmm. But of course, we didn't realize it would be, it's going to be at least a year of canceled contracts. So I was at home in my apartment in Munich going, okay, what do we do now? I mean, we had a lockdown. We couldn't even go on the streets. Like you had a curfew, and there was like, you had to go to the grocery store, you had to do that, but then you had to go home. Like you couldn't really like go out, right? It was really extreme. And I just remember being so grateful for technology. I was FaceTiming my family and making sure they knew I was okay and they were okay. And then I turned to my little piano in my bedroom, and I thought, I've always wanted to sing just some, pop songs. Why not? Like, just try. And I'm not a good pianist at all, but I was like, okay, let's see if I can play this song. And I ended up just doing little videos to comfort myself. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that was where I realized I am an artist. I'm a singer. Like it seems so, I don't know if others who aren't artists can understand. It seems so like, oh, really? Come on, you just get a job, you can do anything. But there is something in you when you're an artist that has to be expressed. And if it's not being expressed, it's like you're tied up. Yeah. Like there has to be a way for you to express yourself through art. And that's just, it's such a thing. It's like a gift that is just given, that any other artist listening understands. Like, yes, I get it. Mm-hmm. Like either you're creating visually or with your hands or with your voice or just with music, anything, you just have to create. And so I started doing these little videos, and a lot of people were grateful, and it was for me really, but they were like, thank you, I really liked this song. Mm-hmm. And you helped me, because we were all having such a hard time. Yeah. And it was so much confusion and what is going on. And I think these little songs that I was attempting to play and sing were bringing a little bit of light into somebody's world, especially mine. So, mm-hmm. Yeah.
With social media and internet taking over more and more, people stay home on their couch, watching cultural events, etc. What actions need to be taken to fill the opera houses around the world? Well,
I mean, I think if people can get vaccinated, then we can all that will help fill the theaters again. But I think moving forward with opera as an art form in a digital age, I think it's been really interesting to see how opera houses have streamed their productions. They've gotten video crews and sound crews together, and they're like, hey, let's stream this. Nobody can come to the theater. Let's put it out on the internet for him. I did a contract last November in Oslo, and we thought we were going to be able to perform, and then boom, everything shut down, and we had to close. The whole city closed down. And so they thought, well, we can't have an audience, but we have a camera, and we've got microphones, and it's not going to be the same, as if you came into the theater, but we'll do our best. And I'm so grateful that opera houses and theaters have been thinking outside the box, trying to get music and culture and art out to people, because it's important. It's really important. It's important for us as the performer to be kind of the conduit for that message to come through. But it's also important for society to realize this is how we heal. This is how we cope with trauma. We turn to music, we turn to literature, we turn to art to calm and soothe and to remind us what is really important in life, I think.
Yet a lot of places pull the funding for the art program.
Oh, I know, and it's happening all the time.
Yes.
That's the thing with art, right? Is it relevant? Not in like an economical like point of view, but really, if you think about like just the spirit of a society, like it is relevant. If we didn't have culture and art, where would we be?
Where would we be?
We'd be very sad and dark, and it just wouldn't be the same. It's not.
No.
It's not why we were here put on the earth.
No.
We were put on the earth to create.
So if someone is about to go to her or his first opera or operetta performance, what would you suggest?
Wear something really fun and comfortable. Don't like get caught up in like, oh, I have to dress up. Like, yeah, I mean, you want to look nice, you want it, but you also want to feel comfortable. And make it a fun event for yourself. If you want to like read into what the story is about, if it's in a foreign language, maybe read the synopsis so you know what you're getting yourself, into, so that you can really get into the music and the story. But let yourself be in the present moment. I think that's what theater does. It's, oh, what's happening now? Oh, what? You're not, if you're allowing yourself to do that, you're not thinking about, oh yeah, what do I have to do tomorrow? Like you want to be in the present moment. That's why we come and we have live theater, and it's so unexpected, and it's what's going to happen. And oh, that's cool. Oh, that note. Wow, that's a really high note. That it's like resonating through my body. That's amazing how she does that. Yeah. It just kind of allows, I guess, for inspiration. Yeah. Like to go through, you're being inspired, but it's also you're receiving inspiration that will help you, even if you have a job as a banker. Like, oh yeah, that's cool. I had this moment of epiphany while I was watching the Sopranos sing that high C, and now I know I want to do this or whatever. Like it just kind of invites inspiration, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It does. How do you recharge your batteries?
Oh, I have a nice warm cup of tea, like after a show. And what helps me, what I've been trying to do recently, which has been really great, is just write down 10 things I'm grateful for, because as an artist, you're always creating and you're always imperfectly creating, and you're always thinking, oh, this could be better, or oh, I wish it was this, or this is what happened tonight and it should have been this way. But that's all part of the process. And I think sometimes as artists, maybe we get really judgmental, and we get really we beat up on ourselves. So I know I do. And so I have to come home and I just have to relax, and you're still kind of like, your adrenaline is still kind of flowing, and it takes some time to like relax, to be able to go to bed. And I think writing down what I'm grateful for helps me keep a healthier, maybe more eternal perspective than oh yeah, I didn't do that one thing right, or that just didn't feel the right way. Or because at the end of the day, what really matters is that you showed up and you did your best, and you can't ask for more.
And you show gratitude.
Right? Yeah. You're grateful for what you have.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's very good advice. Yeah. Do you have a bucket list? Someone you would love to work with, or a role that you would love to play, a music number that you would like to sing?
That is such a good question. There is, there's certain roles that I'd love to do in the French repertoire and in like the bel canto repertoire. Like I'd love to sing Charlotte again from Werther. That has the most beautiful music. Massenet is the composer, and it's almost like film music. It's just, it's so passionate and it's so intense. And some of the other genres, like the bel canto, the singing Romeo from Romeo and Juliet in the Capuletti, Montecchi, the Bellini operas, it's fun to see, like it kind of stretches you, like, what can I do now? As an artist, it gives you another like palette of colors to paint with, and it's really fun. So anytime I'm able to challenge myself, I'm learning a Czech opera right now, which is really interesting because Czech is just like, whoa,
in the language. And I work with these amazing coaches that are either Czech speakers, or they've been trained to
teach, check. Because as an opera singer, you always want to be singing as if that was your mother tongue, right? And so you have to like get the colors of the language and get it completely right so that when you're performing it, you're not performing it with an American accent or something. So that's been fun. It's been a fun like challenge to how does that feel in my mouth and where do I put it? And it's a really fun thing. There's never a dull moment in my career. It's really fun. So I feel really blessed.
Oh. Do you say break a leg to a singer as well?
You can say break a leg. We say toy, toy, toy.
Toy, toy, toy.
I don't know. That's
okay.
Is that something you guys say here? I mean, we do that in Germany. I don't know. Is that a Swedish thing?
I don't know, but we will have to say toy, toy, toy for
like
tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you. It's
having
a pleasure.
few moments with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.